meant that our students are not getting enough contact time or hours. As it is, there is what is recommended by UNESCO, that you have one teacher for 25 students. Now, when the president was coming into office, the ratio was, I think, around 1 to 45. In 2 years, he has intervened, and that ratio is now at 1 to 29. And these are not stories. This is the reality. 76,000 teachers hired in a record 2 years. It has never happened in the history of this country. And he promised in his manifesto that in his first 5 years, he will hire 116,000 teachers. So you can do the math and find out what the balance is. By January, we are doing another 20,000. And by the time we get to 2027, we would have met the target that we set for ourselves. And that is why when the president says he has every intention of delivering on each and every commitment he made, you don't need to look any further. You start with education, which is the space that we are in. When the president came into office, we had the CBC curriculum, and parents did not know what was going to happen. It was chaos. That has been sorted. We now have CBC ET, and Kula didn't have enough time to speak to it, but that is the truth. Then, the most notorious subject, which is the funding for education. And even as late as this week, there's been a lot of conversation and a lot of noise about the funding for education. What everybody who is making noise does not want you to hear or to know is that, and Mheshimiwa Ogendo was in budget as the chair of the budget committee, that the challenge in university funding or funding for education did not begin with President Ruto coming into office. The only difference is that you have a government that is honest and transparent to acknowledge that the money that is being provided is not what the policy speaks to. When you talk about capitation in high school, it's supposed to be 22,000 per student. As it is, based on the budget that is available, it's slightly more than 16,000 per student. It is not happening for the first time now. That has been the story, even in the successive years, going back to more than 10 years ago. But we have been burying our heads in the sand, and then all of a sudden people want you to believe that this government is taking away what is supposed to be free education. Far from it. But the fact that we are bold enough to speak to it, it means we can then ask ourselves, how do we bridge the gap so that we realize what is in the policy, and so that each student has that capitation of 22,000. And there are several proposals that are being put across. You have governors issuing bursaries, you have MPs issuing bursaries. Is it possible to consolidate that so that we have one pot before we look for extra money? Then, of course, there has been the conversation on the university funding model, and we have a series of engagements around this. And there's a lot of noise, and for very good reason. But when we began to have the difficult conversations, then nobody wants to and to listen. I went to university more than 20 years ago. On paper, the government was supposed to pay 70,000 per year. And then the government was to give loan or bursary of another 16,000. Or if you are not lucky, then you have to look for that 60,000. Which means it meant that my entire education was supposed to be 86,000 every year for the 4 years I was a university student.